Yeah, glitch the guarantee. E.N.E. I got another one. Let's go. Let it bubble, we been grinding lately. Cooking up this dope shit, pots going crazy. Acrobatic with the flip, make the fiends chase me. We got that work, nigga, this that crack from the 80s. We got it. Let it bubble, we been grinding lately. Cooking up this dope shit, pots going crazy. Acrobatic with the flip, make the fiends chase me. We got that work, nigga, this that crack from the 80s. Glitch, nigga, legendary. Shit about to get very scary. All of this dope that I spit, pure, the Virgin Mary. My missions vary, stay in water like different fairies. I've been a dripper, automatic like Stephen Curry. What nigga hotter? Go and get him, I'm never worried. I'm in that shep zone, shit about to get extra ugly. Frames fogging up from the gas, it got an extra monkey. I'm willing to bet you my last, nigga, that's good money. Solid from the get-go. Big time rapper with bars, you know my stilo. Never move no work on my own, only on beat. So I'm so good, my mid-range uncontested like free throws, ill as shit. I'm a G-ho, click a Monstars. We ain't giving no powers back. Real catalyst for niggas who bringing bars back. Ricky Bobby on the track, shit is clear as day. Nigga, I'm dope in the pot, let the hook play. Let it bubble, we been grinding lately. Cooking up this dope shit, pots going crazy. Acrobatic with the flip, make the fiends chase me. We got that work, nigga, this that crack from the 80s. We got it. Let it bubble, we been grinding lately. Cooking up this dope shit, pots going crazy. Acrobatic with the flip, make the fiends chase me. We got that work, nigga, this that crack from the 80s. We got it.
We back like cook crack from 1986. Cocaine bars, nigga, you should come and get you a fix. Chefing up this work with the flick of the wrist. Straight dropping the pot, baking soda to mix. You rap niggas make me sick, got me throwing up. Cutting bars with B12, the only way I'm blowing up. I can be a new plug, just come see me for re-ups. Hooks for 5 G's, versus is 10 G's up. Used to eyeball the work with the sight of a sniper's vision. Never had to use the scale, always had the Pyrex vision. You niggas is ice fluffing and water whipping. Y'all bars, it's like duff mixed with soda, they only good for sniffing. E.N.E, you know we really different. I used to get them wrapped up in duct tape with the scorpion imprint. But pushing work can get you locked in prison. Eating swags, sleeping next to fags and niggas that be snitching. I came home, started to shine and glisten. Soon as I touched down, rain came through with pounds. It's soda reminiscent. I'm stacks with the packs, now I'm stacks with the facts. Pushing knowledge like weight, intellectual cracks. Medical marijuana, informational smack. You was short anyway, so just bring me a stack. Up in Smoke Volume 2, glitch through me the alley. Now I'm the plug like I came from out of Southern Cali.
Let it bubble, we been grinding lately.
85 was good, bro.
Dope shit, pots going crazy. Acrobatic with the flip, make the fiends chase me. We got that work, nigga, this that crack from the 80s. Yeah, let it bubble, we been grinding lately. Cooking up this dope shit, pots going crazy. Acrobatic with the flip, make the fiends chase me. We got that work, nigga, this that crack from the 80s. Yeah.
I always been one with the scale like a Libra. No goalie, but I had niggas who move balls like FIFA. Blowing logs of reefer, maintaining my sanity. Your girl scroll my IG, she might see her fantasy. My nigga Stacks was seeing money off white girl like vanity. I'm telling you, the boy had more cane than Danity. As far as me, I was about that green like St. Patty's Day. NCO niggas shoot from the corner like Batty. In the daytime, we make a movie like a matinee. You niggas trick and still don't get no head. Decapitate, no exaggerate. We gonna get right to the duckers and still hit you twins out the park like Kirby Puckett. Had her singing about her destiny, LaToya Luckett. Do you do this because of the money or because you love it? You never seen a nigga keep it so gritty in public. We taking it back to the essence. This that C-dub shit.
Let it bubble, we been grinding lately. Cooking up this dope shit, pots going crazy. Acrobatic with the flip, make the fiends chase me. We got that work, nigga, this that crack from the 80s. Yeah, let it bubble, we been grinding lately. Cooking up this dope shit, pots going crazy. Acrobatic with the flip, make the fiends chase me. We got that work, nigga, this that crack from the 80s. Yeah.
Yeah. What up? Smash that like button, click on the bell, subscribe to the page, Jack. It's that crack from the 80s, man. If you an 80s baby, put your birth year in the comment section. 1982, what it do? You know? Vernon 85, what's good? Yes, it is. The 90s was the truth, man. So was the 80s. You know what I mean? Shout out to my brother Vernon 85 coming through with that contribution off top. Real niggas do real shit. Shout out to my brother Vernon 85. You feel me? Oh, you an 85 cat? Okay. You know, ain't nothing wrong with being an 85 cat. 85 was a prominent year. Let me show y'all why. Let me show y'all why 85 was a prominent year. Right? Hold on, let me do this real quick. Let me take this off the screen. See this shirt? All right. The original Super Mario Brothers came out 1985. Right? Dun 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 dun. Yeah, you right, during 85, man. You right. Right? It was an honor and a privilege to be born in the 80s and to grow up in the 90s. All right, let me pull this up on the screen for y'all real quick. All right. Pull this up on the screen for y'all real quick. Smash that like button, click on the bell, subscribe to the page. How's everybody doing tonight? Hope you had a beautiful day so far. I know I did. All right. I know I had a beautiful day so far. All right. Can't complain. Ain't going to complain, although I could. My opinion, too, Vernon 85, this is the greatest video game of all time, if you ask me. You feel me? I remember when I first got my first Nintendo. Right? Back in 1990. Right? Let me pull this up on the screen for y'all real quick. You know what I'm talking about? I got my first Nintendo in 1990 when I was 8 years old. My pops got it for me for Christmas. This is when Pops was living in Atlanta. You feel me? Let me pull these images up for y'all. All right. Let me put this on the screen for y'all. All right. The 80s and the 90s were the two of the greatest decades in human history. He said plumbers make good money. That's why Mario was eating too good. Yeah, man. And if y'all watched the recent Mario Brothers movie, that movie was deep. All right. That movie was about traveling to other dimensions and everything. So was the original Mario Brothers video game. All right. I understand as an adult, now that I'm privy to such things, I understand how even in our generation, we were programmed perceptually, preemptively for what's going on now. Even in Mario Brothers. Going to different worlds. Interdimensional travel. Huh? We're going to talk about it, man. Smash that like button, click on the bell, subscribe to the page, man. Born in the 80s, but grew up in the 90s. Right? I was born in 1982. I'll be 42 on my birthday in January, in about 3 weeks. About a month, right? Yeah, they made Bowser into a sucker. So they turned him into a sucker, huh? Right? But the 80s and the 90s were pivotal decades. Right? And if you was like me, that along with Vernon 85, that puts us in the early millennial age range. Right? That put us in the early millennial age range. And the reason that I'm having this show, right, is not to so much as to reminisce on 80s and 90s pop culture, which we're going to definitely do some of that. But the purpose of this show is to focus on the significance of our generation, right? The early millennials. Anybody really, just about everybody born between 1980 and 1990. You know, how pivotal our generation is. A lot of people always ask me, well, what's so important about our generation? What's so important about our generation? What's so pivotal and significant about our generation? And I always tell y'all this. Our generation, right? Our generation is the last generation of humans to know what the world was like pre-smart grid, pre-internet, pre-World Wide Web. OG, what's good, man? My man OG said, I remember when Farrakhan was on TV in the 90s. You remember that? Mm-hmm. He was on TV heavy, right? Real heavy. But we're going to get to all of that, but I just want to focus on this real quick. I want to break this down to y'all real quick. Right? You already know OG. Right? One of the main things about growing up in the 80s and the 90s, one of the huge advents in technological advancement was displayed through video games. If y'all look at my shirt, it's my brother Mario on there. We got Sonic on there. You hear me? Yeah, seeing two-parent households was common in our youth. Yes, it was. When we was young, we was seeing the last tail end of two-parent home structure. Right? Smash that like button, y'all. Click on the bell, subscribe to the page. Y'all like that track I played, man, when I first started the show? If I'm not mistaken, we did a listening party when Glitch released that album, Up in Smoke too. Shout out to my brother Glitch the Guarantee, man. Right? This is the reason why Let me put this out real quick, y'all, so I can break this down. Let's come up and talk to y'all. All right. This is the reason why our generation is so pivotal, right? And I want y'all to understand this concept because this is very important, right? And I want y'all to understand, right, why our generation is so important and pivotal, right? We know what things were like, right? Let me pull this images up for y'all. We're the last generation to know what this world was like prior to the digital smart age, right? My man J. Jermaine in the building. What's happening, man? Right? We're the last generation to know what this world was like before smart technology, digital era, the smart era. We're the last generation to know what it was like before all of this stuff. We are the tail end remnants as far as humans go. We're the last group of humans to be born, right, in an analog age. We were born or came of age right on the cusp, the transition from the analog age to the digital age, which means we have a point of reference. We know what the world was like before the internet, before all of this new technology. We know what it's like to not have cell phones. We know what it's like to not have all of this tech. We know how the world was before. I want y'all to understand how important and how significant that is. What does that mean going forward? And what does that mean presently? And this is why our generation specifically is under such heavy attack. This is why we were indoctrinated to go to college. I'm not knocking anybody who went to college. I'm just saying it was part of the indoctrination, right? Our generation is the last group of humans on Earth who knows what this world was like, y'all. Before internet, before Facebook, before social media, social engineering. We knew what it was like before video games came out in the way they are now. Y'all, that's why I pulled this stuff up on the screen. This is all analog tech, nothing wireless. Everything had to be plugged in and connected, right? Right? How many of y'all remember when the internet first came online fully, right? How many of y'all remember America Online? Don't pick up the phone, man. Don't pick up the phone. Y'all remember that? Remember we used to get the internet on a CD in the mail, trial run? Y'all remember that? We are the last generation of humans on Earth, y'all. I want y'all to understand how important that is, right? We are the last generations of humans on the Earth who knows what this world was like
Power on.
before
Bluetooth.
the smart grid.
Bluetooth connected.
Put a 1 in the chat if you understand the significance of that. I said put a 1 in the chat if you understand the significance of that. right? This is why they got the crosshairs on our generation in the way that they do. We know what it was like in this world before all this censorship. We knew what it was like in this world before all of this effery going on. We can remember when it was not societally acceptable to be a fun boy. We grew up in an era where it was not societally acceptable to be a whore. We grew up in a society where it was not society acceptable for women to be promiscuous, for men to be not men and feminine. We didn't grow up in an era where children talk back to grown folks. We didn't grow up in an era where children disrespected grown folks. We didn't grow up in an era, right, where we could just talk crazy about people without no repercussions or consequences behind that. 9 times out of 10, physically. We grew up in an era where we didn't have the internet. We came up in an era when the internet went fully online in the way that we interact with it today. They used to tell us that Bob Gore invented the Al Gore invented the internet. They used to tell us that. How many of y'all remember online AOL, man? You've got mail, right? Smash that like button, click on the bell, subscribe to the page, y'all. You feel me? Smash that like button, click on the bell, subscribe to the page, y'all. You feel me?
It spans the globe like a superhighway. It is called Internet. The net to longtime users.
Internet is a whole group of networks.
The net is made up of some 12,000 individual computer networks. Internet began back in 1969. It was a tool of the Pentagon. But nowadays...
Stop. Right? Let me pull this up on the screen for y'all. Right? The internet was originally designed as a weapon. Let me tell y'all something, man. Whenever tech starts out in R&D, which is research and development, whenever it starts out being funded by the military, I want y'all to know that means that technology is a weapon or planned for use in war or in a state of war. So what does that tell you about the internet? What does that tell you about our society? Right? Now, the internet was first developed as a way of communications for the Joint Chiefs of Staffs and anybody who worked at the Pentagon. Most people who work at the Pentagon have a G4 classification, G2 at the minimum, right? Security classification. Now, the internet was not created, my fault. The internet was not invented by Al Gore. That is an absolute, utter lie. Not true at all. Right? Actually, the internet, right, was developed by, guess what organization? Let's see if they're going to tell us. Right? I'm going to tell you, it was none of these dudes. Right? They didn't invent the internet, but they did come up with the tech, right, that would give birth to the internet. They came up with this tech, both of these two guys right here, amongst other guys like Wozniak, he was involved. Right? All of these guys went to MIT, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Right? But the invention of the internet, or the research into the research and development of the tech that would lead to the internet, right, which is in its origin is TCP and IP, transmission control protocol, and internet protocol, right? Basically the electronic distribution, the electronic trafficking, transferring, if you would, of digital wireless frequencies, digital wireless electric frequencies, right? But the research and development was seed funded by this company, by this organization, I should say. How many of y'all are aware of In-Q-Tel? How many of y'all ever heard of an organization called In-Q-Tel? In-Q-Tel is the one who actually developed this tech. And what they do is they hire people as contractors, people like Surf and Khan, who are digital programmers, electrical engineers, computer engineers, you know what I mean? These real intelligent guys, guys like Gates, guys like Jobs, smart guys. You have this company right here, organization, In-Q-Tel. What is In-Q-Tel? In-Q-Tel is the investment venture capital branch firm of the Central Intelligence Agency. All right. Now, what does that mean, what I just said, y'all? In-Q-Tel is the venture capital firm that is a part and administered and under the jurisdiction of the Central Intelligence Agency. In-Q-Tel basically is the venture capital firm of the CIA that gives funding to organizations, think tank organizations, research societies, scientists, you know, intellectuals who are coming up with cutting edge tech. And In-Q-Tel is the venture capital firm of the part firm of the CIA. In-Q-Tel seed funded Facebook. In-Q-Tel seed funded the internet. In-Q-Tel seed funded Bezos, Gates. Lance Parker, what's happening, man? Put a 1 in the chat if you guys are aware of this organization called In-Q-Tel. In-Q-Tel. Right? Tap in, walk with me, man.
About anyone with a computer and a modem can join in, usually for a nominal fee.
When Carol Phillips wants to know what's going on in her community, she takes a walk to the computer in her family room. Critics say one danger is this could turn out to be an elitist system, one available only to people with a computer and a modem. Phillips connects to Cupertino, California's city-run network, CityNet.
An effort to harness the information explosion, to allow the high-tech flow of facts and figures between government, business, schools, and citizens. Computers, databases, and consumer electronics, designed to put vast amounts of information at users' fingertips.
One of its greatest achievements appears to be as an aid in scientific research. By tapping into internet, scientists can share knowledge with another scientist at lightning speed.
And thus widening the gap between the haves and the have-nots.
Internet keeps growing, adding users and services.
Promoting the information superhighway, Vice President Gore on Wednesday said he could foresee the day when a youngster just home from school, given a choice between Nintendo and the Encyclopedia Britannica, would choose to access the encyclopedia. If that is so, that might be even a greater accomplishment than the technology.
All right. How many of y'all heard of In-Q-Tel? Right.
Venture capital firms are set.
In order for us to understand where we at, we got to go look at what happened. We got to take a walk down memory lane. Smash that like button, click on the bell, subscribe to the page. What year was you born in, man?
To make money. They carefully distribute capital through investments to own businesses and have power on company boards with a view to spinning a profit in the future. However, not many people know that the CIA also have their own venture capital arm called In-Q-Tel. But why would an intelligence agency need to invest in startups, and how does In-Q-Tel work? Here's how it happened. In-Q-Tel was founded in 1999 to be a non-profit VC fund
Way before
funded
then,
by
y'all.
the intelligence community to extend the agency's R&D efforts into the private sector. Founded just around the time of the dot-com boom, as internet businesses were taking off, the CIA and other agencies started to think that they were possibly missing out on cutting-edge technology, which may come in handy to defend the country in future. According,
Right. Now pay attention. It says this company started in 1999. In-Q-Tel been around way before 1999, privately, right? It went public in 99, but it's been around for a long, long time. And when you think about the internet, In-Q-Tel is the organization within the Central Intelligence Agency, which is a private corporation. The CIA is a private corporation. I want y'all to understand that. You hear me? CIA ain't even been around that long, you know? And what they do is they invest into upcoming, upstarting tech companies like Facebook, like Microsoft, like Amazon, like Neuralink. Damn, Patrick, what's good, man? Right, let's go.
people in the know, the CIA did not and could not compete for IT innovation and talent with the same speed and agility that those in the commercial marketplace, whose businesses are driven by internet time and profit, could. So, in February 1999, the CIA launched In-Q-Tel with $28 million in order to take advantage of new technologies which would not...
So, the CIA allegedly started In-Q-Tel, went public with In-Q-Tel with 28 mil. Now think about that, man. Let's go.
Want to associate themselves with the government. But by reversing the process and assisting entrepreneurs, In-Q-Tel focused on innovation and entrepreneurship rather than making quick money or putting pressure on businesses. This then helps the national security effort and has seen IQT launch new initiatives such as IQT Emerge, which is trying to make spy-like technology commercially available to encourage innovation and collaboration.
That has already happened. This is where your Ring cameras come from. This is where now you're able to go to Amazon and order surveillance cameras for your house or your business. This is the tech to which he is referring to. This is the secret, I ain't gonna say secret, but this is the spy/surveilling equipment which was developed for the NSA, the CIA, the FBI, the DEA, and all the other alphabet agencies, which are private corporations. And now we have that very tech in our society and been around for at least 20 years. We had cameras back in 2001, 2000 on the spot. You did. Tap in, walk with us.
Between public and private sectors. They also launched IQT International, IQT Labs to explore things that remain unsolved across public and private sectors.
Things that remain unsolved in the private sector. Wonder what it could be talking about, right? IBM was huge in the 80s. If I'm not mistaken, Rest of the Essence, I think that's where Kev used to work before he started, I think Kev said he worked at IBM as an electrical engineer when he got out of college. If I'm not mistaken, I remember him saying that. Rest in the efforts to the homie Kev Samuels, man. IBM, International Business Machines, one of the biggest, if not the biggest corporation I remember from my childhood. Let's go.
Be next to focus on biotech to work on infectious diseases. IQ.
Now, hold on real quick. In-Q-Tel has a branch of their company called Be Next. Be Next. Be Next is a biotech firm. You can compare it to Monsanto, right? You can compare them to Searle Pharmaceuticals, Johnson & Johnson, or should I say SC Johnson Wax or Johnson & Johnson. You could compare Be Next to any of these companies because this is what they do. Research and development is in biotech, biological technology, right? Yeah, Be Next. That's the name of the company. Right? Now look at what their logo is, man. Secure, protect, comply. That's a hell of a slogan, man. So now, in order to get information on this company, Be Next, you have to go to In-Q-Tel's website. Right? Be Next is In-Q-Tel's biotech branch. Oh, no. Oh, yeah, they directed me to NQTEL's page. All right. Look at all this stuff. This is what they do over there at NQTEL. My man Les Parker said the tech boom was shown in the 80s on the big screen, became a reality in the 90s and on. That's a fact. That is a fact. Think about all the movies from when we was a kid. Think about all the movies when we was young, man. Johnny Mnemonic. Y'all remember Johnny Mnemonic with Keanu Reeves? I think that's the movie he played in before he played in The Matrix. All right. This is what they do over here at NQTEL. This is what they be looking into. Digital intelligence, intelligent connectivity, data analytics, AI and machine learning, autonomous systems. Look at it, IT platform, trusted infrastructure. Listen here, y'all. This is the smart grid. This is what I be talking to y'all about. Strategic military armaments and residential technologies. SMART. Strategic military armaments in residential technology. SMART. We have a think tank organization in my city, right? We have a think tank organization in my city, right, called Smart Columbus. I've been telling y'all about this stuff, man. Who you think seed funded Smart Columbus? And it wasn't NQTEL. Yup, Terminator, Tron, Blade Runner, all the 80s movies, man. All the 80s movies, man. You feel me? The video games, too. Battlestar Galactica. Yeah. You already know it, Judge Jermaine. Columbus, listen here, y'all. My city of Columbus, Ohio, is the smartest city in the Western Hemisphere. We are the leading most city in the Western Hemisphere in smart technology and incorporating it in the infrastructure of our city. This organization right here, Smart Columbus, was seed funded by the Paul G. Allen Foundation and the United States Department of Transportation. Right? That's why when you come to Columbus, you're going to see the small little cars you can get. You're going to see the bikes, the scooters, autonomous vehicles, Wi-Fi connectivity everywhere. We have the highest concentration in cell mass towers in all of America. Google, Intel, Facebook, amongst other big tech companies, have their home offices either being built here or already built here. It's a smart initiative going on in my city. I guarantee you we probably going to be one of the first cities with the full-on autonomous vehicles as far as like, in public transportation. And we're also going to probably be one of the first cities to experiment with humanoid robot police. Yeah, out there in New Albany. Right? So, just to connect some dots for y'all, right? You know, y'all look into this company, InQtel, man. InQtel, IQT, the venture capitalist firm ran by the CIA, right? Oh, yes, man. Westerners involved in all of this. Big involved. Let's go.
To focus on biotech, to work on infectious diseases. IQT is there to try to anticipate.
Y'all hear that? So the big thing over there at BNext is they do research into vaccines and how to come up with different medications and
to explore things that remain
research into biomechanical enhancing, upgrading. Remember, I'll be talking to y'all about this stuff, man. They want to upgrade us, enhance us. This is what they do in InQtel, man. At this company, BNext. They invest in companies who have research and development or are doing research and development in all things biotech, from pharmaceuticals to biological and physiological human enhancement and upgrading. And then we got Elon Musk, also seed funded by InQtel, who's doing research into what? Autonomous vehicles, humanoid robots, human brain-computer interfacing, right? InQtel. Let's go.
Across public and private sectors, and BNext, to focus on biotech, to work on infectious diseases. IQT is there to try to anticipate technology questions, and the VC fund is therefore relied upon as an organization that's trying to predict the future, always looking ahead to power their partners ahead of the technology curve to ensure the national security of the US and its allies. IQT Emerge's launch in 2020 was initiated by Trump to collaborate with the private sector to improve research capabilities.
Initiated by Trump in 2020, meaning that Trump is the president, right? To give IQT basically the okay to go ahead to openly invest and go public. Think about that, man. This is serious, man.
They hope the funding will continue to rise under Biden after he pledged $9 billion to modernize technology across federal governments after the SolarWinds breach. Whilst the amount of money that InQtel has access to is unknown, what we do know is that they received $495.3 million over 5 years until the end of 2018.
Right. I wonder if these guys ever been audited by the IRS. Think about that.
As they receive annual investment capital from the CIA. In 2005, they had $37 million with returns at 26%. And in
shout out to my brother Glister Guarantee in the building, man. We got 2-6 E.N.E in the building right now. Actually 3, because my brother Fonz is definitely in the building too. Listen here, man. Shout out to my brother Glitch, man. You hear me? In the building. Smash that like button, click on the bell, subscribe to the page, man.
2014, it was suggested that they...
So, did y'all peep what they just said? Let me run it back.
Capital from the CIA. In 2005, they had $37 million with returns at 26%. $9 billion to modernize...
Biden gave InQtel $9 billion.
Technology across federal governments after the SolarWinds breach. Whilst the amount of money that InQtel has access to is...
Y'all remember the SolarWinds breach? Oh man, Jay Jermaine said Trump is going to be a turncoat. If not, they're going to smoke him. I Keep telling y'all, man, I wouldn't vote for none of these people, man. I'll keep telling y'all Trump is going to bring the smart grid fully online. He get up in there. I keep telling y'all to look who he's funded by, who his campaign is being funded by. He's not footing the bill for his campaign. Not all of it anyway, right?
What we do know is that they received $495.3 million over 5 years until the end of 2018, as they received annual investment capital from the CIA. In 2005, they had $37 million with
Annual contributions.
Earns at 26%. And in 2014, it was suggested that they managed $327 million. Incutel invests between $500,000 to $3 million in startups, taking an advisory role on the company's board, which helps to guide product development, but also to discover news before anyone else. As a not-for-profit, any excess monies are then reinvested back into Incutel and sometimes even given to employees, who are forced to invest 20 to 40% of their salary into the funds. Now that we know more about Incutel's,
they have no choice but to invest their salary into the company. Now that sounds like utter BS to me, man. What's really going on over there at Incutel, man? And why are they so secretive? Why don't we all know about Incutel? Why is it something that they keeping away from us? Think about that, man.
Around what do they actually invest in? Well, Incutel focuses its investments on security businesses. This includes working with SafeWeb to create an internet privacy product to protect confidential communications. They also work with IntelliSeek to develop a web-based intelligence agent and knowledge discovery technology. They've previously worked with Voxel 8, Arrivo, and Fuel 3D within 3D scanning and printing, and work in collaboration with Keyhole, the business behind Google Earth, as well as Palantir, Peter Thiel's secretive data business. Despite this revolutionary technology, there remains some resistance to change within the CIA, with not invented here syndrome a common problem. Incutel therefore set up their own interface center to act as the marketing link to promote IQT's projects within the CIA, but also to be the voice for the CIA within Incutel, in order to focus their efforts on certain technological solutions. Arguably, the most important integration has been the Presidential Information Dissemination System, or PIDS, an electronic tool to brief the president-elect between president.
Is y'all paying attention to this part? The Presidential Information Dissemination System, or PIDS. Right? So Incutel, the venture capital investment firm owned by the CIA, has a system they have developed not only for the president, but also the president-elect, right? That informs them and keeps them incommunicado with every branch of government and of every so-called governmental organization, right? Which really are private, or should I say private corporations like the CIA, like the FBI, like the DEA, like the SEC, like the IRS, like the Federal Reserve. Let's go.
Transitions. The Department for Defense and DARPA are calling for their own versions of Incutel to encourage innovation.
There's DARPA. I done told y'all about DARPA, the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, DARPA. DARPA's in on this too. I done told you about DARPA. DARPA just bought Boston Dynamics a few years ago. Let's go.
In the defense space. That's thanks to IQT's commercial partners, crediting them with feeding technological innovation and providing the ultimate seal of approval for businesses due to the toughest due diligence process. Do you think that Incutel is a good idea? Leave us a comment below with your thoughts, and that's how it happened. Thanks for watching.
So I'll ask y'all think, what y'all think about In-Q-Tel? Put a 1 in the chat if before tonight you've heard of this company or organization, venture capital firm ran by the CIA called In-Q-Tel. Yeah. They're one of the people who helped spearhead the internet into what we see today. Right? And that's the reason why I'm talking about them, because this goes back to the 80s and the 90s when all this stuff developed. And I want y'all to have a history and be able to go do your own due diligence and connect some dots onto how and why the internet and anything to do with smart technology or modern tech, artificial intelligence. I want y'all to understand where it all started from and how to connect the dots on how to trace its origins and the people and organizations behind it. And when you look into that, you know, that's when you're going to start getting into, you know, the type of stuff I'll be going to listen. Follow the money. Lester Freeman from The Wire told us to follow the money. I'm going to tell you, follow the money, but also follow the bloodline. Follow the bloodline. The money is cool and it can connect some dots for you, but you got to follow the bloodline of these people because they all are related down there. Right? You know, I don't really do guys as panels and stuff, man. You know what I mean? Yeah, that just ain't my thing, man. You know, right? I think we're talking about growing up in the 80s, being born in the 80s, growing up in the 90s, and I'm telling y'all about the origins of the internet and how it started, where it started, who. Right? In-Q-Tel been around way longer and before 1999, y'all. Right? Right? So understand the importance of our generation. We are the last generations of humans to know what this world was like before the digital era. Now, I want y'all to understand, outer, extra stand, inner, outer, extra stand, how important that is and the significance of its importance. Right? Just like I said, this is why our generation is under attack. You know, I don't even know who that is, bro. Right? I don't really be watching these niggas for real, to be honest with you. And it's only so long I can sit up here and watch somebody and I can just see it's some bullshit and I don't even want to hear him. And I'm not saying that's the case with whoever this BGS, because I really don't know who this person is. I've never seen their content before. I heard the name, but I don't, and I ain't gonna go check it out. Right? So in order to understand where we at and where we going, we got to understand where we came from. When it comes to the internet, companies like IQT, In-Q-Tel, organizations like the CIA, the NSA, right? The State Department, you feel me? In the private sector, man, they be looking into this stuff forever, man. You feel me? This is the basis and the origins of the internet. I want y'all, the reason why I did all this, real, to let y'all know that the internet is a weapon. It was developed by the military, right? For the military. I want y'all to understand that the Pentagon is the military. The Pentagon is where the Joint Chiefs of Staff meet and convene. And the Defense Department of Defense, that's where they handle their business at. Right? So understand that the military is definitely involved with the Central Intelligence Agency. Right? Now that we got that out the way, you know what I'm saying, we understand the importance and the significance of our early millennial generation, right? Right? The significance of our generation. Growing up in the 80s and the 90s was lit. Let's just get that out the way right there. It was fire. Wouldn't trade it for the world. You understand me? Smash that like button, man. And I want y'all to understand, you right? When we think about music, imagery, TV shows, cartoons, I want y'all to understand that we was heavily programmed in the 80s and the 90s, right? I want y'all to understand that. And as we go into these days we in now, we've been perceptually prepared for exactly what's going on now. Us, you know, we have the frame of reference because we can remember when this whole agenda started, right? I want y'all to understand the importance and the significance of having that frame of reference, man. That means we can see through a lot of effery that they're trying to pull on us now, right? It was, though, man. I wasn't trading for nothing. It was dope growing up in the 80s and the 90s, man. You hear me? But you know, we were heavily programmed in the 80s and the 90s, right? Right? If y'all remember in the 80s, man, we had a lot of cartoons, man. We had a lot of cartoons that were programming us and indoctrinating us on levels that we don't even recognize or realize. You know? I'm saying all this to say that we was just as programmed as the kids today are being. Not as intense because it wasn't specifically aimed at our waking consciousness. See, a lot of the stuff from the 80s and the 90s was very subliminal, right? And you don't realize until you become aware of such things. You go watch cartoons like E.N.E, go watch cartoons like She-Ra, you know, G.I. Joe, and some of these older cartoons from the 80s. They were very sexualizing, if you would, right? Thundercats, G.I. Joe, He-Man. You know, the 80s is when manga and anime Because I know it was 80s anime porn. Oh, they ain't gonna sell. Oh, I'm tripping. I don't even know why I put that in there. I'm bugging. Right? Even in the anime in the 80s, it was very sexualizing. You hear me? The anime in the 80s was very graphic. You know, He-Man was super fugazi, right? Y'all can look at anime from the 80s. It was very erotic, very sexualized. You know. You know. You'll look at a lot of 80s anime. Very sexual. Just showing y'all all this just to let y'all know that we've been hit with programming too. Yeah, they don't know nothing about that Lance part. They don't know nothing about my man Kinjiro. My man Kinshiro. You hear me? I'm gonna get you with the y'all know nothing about that or Vampire Hunter D. Pause. All right. Y'all know nothing about this. Scarlett did a good job in that movie too. She's a very good actress. I like Scarlett Johansson. She's a sexy white broad too. She did a real good job in this movie. All right. Y'all know nothing about the Ghost in the Shell. They finally made it a live action movie a few years ago. Scarlett Johansson plays the lead character. I suggest y'all go watch this movie. Human brain computer interfacing, biological enhancing, upgrading, unintelligent artificial intelligence, mega cities, mega regions, mega structures. All of that is in the Ghost in the Shell. This movie, man, what year was it when the Ghost in the Shell came out, man? Was this the 90s? 1995. All right. This was that cyberpunk stuff in its origin stages in the 80s, late 70s, early 80s. Right? And they definitely could have found a bad Asian chick to play the Ghost in the Shell, like the girl that played in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. They could have got old girl Jijit Jarjin to play it. They call her the female Tony Jaa. They could have got her to play in this part. They could have got a whole bunch of chicks to play this part, but they got Scarlett Johansson to play it, which I will admit she did a good job. Y'all go watch this movie, The Ghost in the Shell. I suggest y'all go watch the original anime cartoon from back in the day. The 90s was lit. You hear me? The 90s was chock filled of imagery movies, right? That preemptively programmed us for what we're experiencing now. Right? I was watching Danger Mouse back then. Not Danger Mouse. Right? Y'all go check out The Ghost in the Shell, man. The Ghost in the Shell. Go check out the original anime, though. The anime movie. And see if it'll spark your memory on the things you hear we talk about over here at A Real Talk. human brain computer interfacing. Like I said, biological, physiological, upgrading, and enhancing. You understand me? Human brain computer interfacing. You hear me? Unintelligent artificial intelligence, autonomous vehicles. You hear me? Everything is in that movie. It's like a cartoon version of Dread a little bit, if you would. Right? So much movies from the 80s, man. Right? I heard somebody mention this movie in the comment section. This movie is ill. Even back in the day, this movie was ill. Mr. O, my Joe from Chicago. What happening, man? What's happening, Joe? Yeah, man. Y'all remember this movie, man? This movie was about interdimensional travel. Right? I think this movie came out in this. When the hell did this movie come out, man? Tron came out in 1982, the year I was born. Right? If I'm not mistaken, I think that's a young Jeff Daniels. If I'm not mistaken. I might be wrong. Right? You know? We the last generation that knew what this world was like before the digital era. We came of age right on the cusp, man. Understand that. Understand the significance and importance of that, man. All right? Y'all remember this movie back in the day? Y'all remember this movie back in the day, Weird Science? We've been near. Hey, our generation was preemptively programmed too. All right. We've been preemptively programmed for this tech, y'all. I want y'all to understand how even in the 80s, we've been preemptively programmed with the very same agendas. They're just out in the open with it now. When we was growing up, it was all subliminal. He said, I got a 1982 baby mama. Huh? You know, we've been just as indoctrinated. It just wasn't in our face. It was subliminal. Right? I want y'all to understand how important our generation is, man. Y'all want to know another pivotal point in our childhood? Y'all remember this when we was kids? Yeah, Kelly LeBlanc. She was a famous model and actress back in the day. What's this event right here, y'all? Right? Growing up in the 80s, man. Born in the 80s, growing up in the 90s, man. Y'all remember this right here when we was kids? Huh? Y'all understand what this meant? when we was children. Yeah. Allegedly. Right? Lots of stuff from our childhood. Right? Y'all remember this when this was going on? All right? Yeah. Yeah. I want y'all to understand that we've been heavily programmed as well, man. Right? Rest in the essence to David Koresh, man. We're taking a trip down memory lane. We're being nostalgic tonight, man. We're going through that. We've been born in the 80s and growing up in the 90s. The latchkey kids, early millennials. Us. Anybody born between 1980 and 1990. Right? Rest in the essence to David Koresh and everybody else who lost their lives as a result of what happened in Waco, Texas back in 1995, I want to say. I want to go down memory lane just so I can show y'all how we was preemptively programmed in our childhood to experience these things on way higher levels in our adulthood, in the digital era. Right? How many of y'all know that most of them people who lost their lives as a result of the FBI and the ATF basically ransacking and raiding the Branch Davidians? How many of y'all know that most of them people was black folks up in there? A lot of black children lost their lives as a result. That happened in Waco back in the day. You know, and try to paint David Koresh to be this sick guy. And when you do your research into who David Koresh actually was, it's like two different people. Right? Pivotal stuff, man. Right? All right. Smash that like button, man. Nah, we all millennials. Basically, anybody born between 1980 and 1990, you're a millennial. Basically. Now, early millennials, late millennials, you know, whatever. Millennial nonetheless. We will be considered early millennials. Right? We was born at the age where all this stuff was just starting to come in. And we were, like I said, we all came of age right on the cusp of when it was leaving out of the analog era and going into the digital era. That's fair to say that too. That's probably somewhere in the range too, Mr. O. I don't know exactly what it is, but I just use as a frame of reference from 1980 to 1990. How many of y'all remember what was going on in Bosnia and Herzegovina back in the day with the Bosnian War? When they was basically persecuting Muslims and sit over there in Bosnia and Herzegovina and over there in the Balkan, where in the what's the name? The Slavic countries. Whatever. I mean, whatever that makes you, that floats your boat. You can be a Gen X if you want to, right? The 80s was very significant as well. Y'all want to know, in my opinion, y'all want to know what one of the major advents was in the 80s? MTV, man. I think MTV came on the air, in 1980, 1981? Yep, August 1st, 1981. I wasn't even born yet. Let's blow this up. On Saturday, August 1st, 1981 at 12:08 a.m. Eastern Time, MTV was launched with the words, "Ladies and gentlemen, rock and roll," spoken by John Lack and played over footage of the first space shuttle launch countdown of Columbia, which took place earlier that year. See, that's another pivotal thing, all right? That's why this was the logo, all right? MTV. Historical day. All right. Right. You hear me? MTV was pivotal. I said pivotal. MTV was very pivotal in programming us. Right? Huh? What y'all know about this right here? Hmm? All right. That nigga had that glow, man. You hear me? That Bruce Leroy glow. You know? Hip hop. He said Bruce Leroy the first Saiyan. Said that nigga was the first Super Saiyan. Nigga powered up on that nigga show now. You know? Hip hop is a quintessential component to what's going to be going on going into the future. Right? We remember when there was no hip hop in the way we see it now. Right? Hip hop was still in its fruition in its earliest stages when I was a child. Not a taekwondo class. Right? And what they doing now with hip hop. You go look at all these old pictures of hip hop artists. You ain't gonna see none but us. With the exception of, you know, other people sprawled in. But most of the artists who was popping, most of the people who had careers and started, they were all us. You know, with the exception of people like Moni Love. You feel me? With the exception of people like Moni Love, with the exception of people like Slick Rick, most of our early hip hop stars were black. As we see a picture with Kid Capri, Queen Latifah, Pop. Rest in essence to Pop. I don't know who that is back there. We had the best era in music next to the 70s, if you ask me. The 70s and the 80s was the best era of music in human history, if you ask me. All right. I keep doing that, man. Feel me? With the exception of these three goofballs right here, rest of the essence to the homie. Think it's him that passed. Either him or him that passed not too long ago. Yeah, man. Growing up in the 80s was fire. Josephine, what's good? Right? Yeah, the cartoons were better, but we already talked about that. The cartoons were a lot of homoerotic cartoons, man. I'm talking about from He-Man, Transformers, She-Ra. Huh? Y'all remember these cartoons from back in the day? Huh? Y'all remember the Snorks? All right. Well, what about this cartoon? the Silverhawks? Hmm. So I know about the Silverhawks. Huh? Y'all remember this game from back in the day time, man? You feel me? Remember Battletoads? All the video games were indoctrinating us into experiencing alternate realities. That's a good one, man. Talks beat in the building was good. Yeah, man. Yeah, niggas in the joint used to be playing Magic and shit. I used to be clowning them niggas, man, playing that demonic ass shit, right? Growing up in the 80s, being born in the 80s and growing up in the 90s was fire, man. Right? Y'all remember my brother right here? Rest in the essence to my brethren, man. All right? I don't like when they try to bring back all the cartoons from when we was kids, man. It ain't the same, man. It's terrible. Rest in the essence to the homie Kurt Cobain, man. Right? Rest in the essence to Kurt Cobain, man. You know? Kurt Cobain was a very pivotal figure in the 90s. You know? His lyrics were very revealing, if you would. All right? Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. You know what I'm saying? I want y'all to get that engagement up, man. Talk to each other, man. Spit your game. Talk your shit. Right? How many of y'all remember this? How many of y'all remember this? I might get into this one of these days, man. You know. Rest in the essence to young John Bonet, man. Y'all remember this story? Back in the day? So sad.
Christmas Day, 1996, a frantic and distressed Patsy Ramsey called 911, claiming her daughter had been the victim of a kidnapping. 6 hours later, however, the body of her 6-year-old daughter was found in the utility room of the basement. She was found with duct tape over her mouth and a cord around her neck. The crime scene was extremely compromised due to a large amount of friends and family arriving to comfort the Ramseys. 26 years later, what was followed are dozens of accusations from both the police and the Ramseys claiming everything from police incompetence to parental wrongdoing. Was this horrific act done by someone the family knew, even perhaps a family member? Or was this the act of a random insane person? This is the story of John Benet Ramsey.
That's in the essence of young John Benet, man. You know, I'm gonna get into it right now, but yeah, man. I remember when this situation happened back in the day, and it just did. I remember I was very disturbed by it. Yeah, man. Yeah, her mom and dad. We get into that one of these days, man. I'll sit up there and could break that damn thing down for y'all, man. You know what I'm saying? You know, the Ramseys were very connected people. Let's just say that. They were very connected people. You know? Very. Right? And I want y'all to understand how all of this stuff right here that we going over, man, in our childhood, I want y'all to understand that this is programming. This is getting us perceptually prepared for what we're experiencing right now. Right? Huh? Let me tell y'all a pivotal movie from the 80s. How many of y'all ever seen this movie? Y'all remember this movie? I suggest y'all go watch this movie. This movie is ill. This movie right here, and the band played on, is the movie depicting how the AIDS epidemic started and spread in America. This is an ill movie. Old movie. I think, what year was it when this movie came out? 93. This movie came out in 1993. All right. I suggest y'all go watch this movie. Right? Let's take it to another area right now, how we've been programmed for what's going on right now. Y'all remember this cartoon from back in the day? Do y'all remember this cartoon from back in the day? Conan the Adventurer. Y'all remember that?
Warrior without fear, he's more powerful than anywhere. His heaven spreads across the land and sea. Conan, the mightiest warrior ever. His quest to undo the spell of living stone cast upon his family by driving the evil serpent men back into another dimension. And
by driving the evil serpent men back into another dimension.
pushing their leader, the cruel wizard Rapamon.
And Conan been around for a long time, man. I'm showing y'all this cartoon to show y'all how even back when we were children, we were being indoctrinated with the reptilian agenda. Let me show y'all another one, man. The original Conan movie. All right. Man of bravery, my man Conan Arnold. Grace Jones. Arnold Schwarzenegger. You did. Not Trump. You know. Right? Or we can get, hey, listen, we've been indoctrinated, y'all, from since the 80s and the 90s. Right? Right? I remember when this movie came out back in the day. See, y'all, we've been heavily programmed, man. Don't make no mistake about that, y'all. We've been heavily, preemptively, perceptually programmed, y'all. Right? Just as much, maybe not as intense, but just as much as the current generation. Right? The only difference is in the analog age, due to the nature of the society, they couldn't be outright and blatant with these agendas. They had to hide them. They had to make them subliminal. You understand what I'm saying? Y'all got to understand what was going on in the country while we were children. Right? Do y'all realize what was going on in the 80s and the 90s? Do you realize why we were being heavily propagandized like how we were? You understand why the efforts to keep us separated and divided were amped up in the 80s and the 90s is where it all started, right? In the 80s and the 90s, it was a huge patriot effort going on throughout the whole country. Are y'all aware of that? Huh? I want y'all to understand the significance and the importance of that. You did? You know? I want y'all to understand the significance and the importance, man. So we can understand where we headed. Understand that we've been just as programmed and indoctrinated as our children are being, and current society is undergoing right now as we speak. It started with us, our generation. You just have to have the eyes to see. You understand me? Right? So growing up in the 80s, in the 90s, being born in the 80s, growing up in the 80s as well, you know, a lot of us grew up in the 80s. You know what I'm saying? When we was kids. And a lot of us got to jump off the porch age in the 90s. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? We can see the early stages of this whole division thing amongst especially us black folks. Right? In the 80s and the 90s is when we seen the rise. You feel me? Right? All right. In the 80s and the 90s, we seen the rise of gang culture. At the same time, we were seeing in the early 80s, look what we got at the same time simultaneously in our country. At the same time, this was being pushed upon us. Right? Hold on, let me get this. In the 80s, when it came to the rap music, right? Colors was a big part of it. But in the 80s, when it came to rap music for the most part, we had rappers like Eric B. and Rakim, Public Enemy, De La Soul, Boogie Down Productions, you know, the Furious Five. You know, we had the rappers, the artists who were out at the time. They were very conscious. They were spreading knowledge. I want y'all to understand that we were being indoctrinated back then because this so-called Black consciousness movement was very demonic. It was very demonic. But they had to replace it with an even more demonic system called gangster rap. All right? Gangster rap. In the 90s, everybody wanted to be again. The 80s, we was all trying to be conscious. And the record labels was pushing that stuff. If y'all remember, the record labels was definitely promoting all them dudes. Positive K, Special Ed, Brand Nubian, Souls of Mischief, Diggable Planets. All them acts, man, from the back in the day. You know? What's the one group? X-Clan. You feel me? Right? That's how it started off. Next thing you know, we getting this. All right. You feel me? My nigga said, shout out to Larry Bernard Hoover. I'll do a show on old Hoover, man. Y'all might not like that, man. Y'all might not like the show I do on old Hoover, man. You know? That's another topic for another day. I ain't gonna get into that tonight. But gang culture was a very prominent part of growing up in the 80s and the 90s. Yes, it was. Gang culture was all over America when we were children, right? This new gang culture, I don't know, gang, or they say gang, but, I don't really pay attention to all that stuff now. But what I do know is when we were children, gang culture was very much prominent, if not as much more than it is today. When we was kids, we literally had to worry about being safe when we went on another side of town. I don't know if it's too much like that nowadays. It's not like that in my city anyway. You know what I'm saying? But I remember in the 90s, it used to be going down in my city on the gang side. Just like I'm pretty sure it was going down in y'all cities as well. Because when we was kids, gang culture was very, very prominent. It went right along hand in hand with the music, gangster music, Yup, sneaker culture did, right? A pivotal album. Right? Y'all remember this album when it came out back in the day when we was kids, man? Right? I want y'all to understand how we've been programmed, man. Even back in the day, we was being programmed, man. We was being preemptively programmed, man. In the 80s, in the 90s. That's the main reason for the show tonight, y'all, to show y'all what we was just as indoctrinated, man. Right? It was just more subliminal when we was kids. Now it's just out in the open. Due to the success of the mind effery agendas of the 80s and the 90s, they don't have to hide any of this stuff anymore. Now they can just be out blatant because now it's acceptable now. When really not even that long ago, it wasn't. And I want y'all to think of the significance and the importance of that. Right? You might want to watch with stuff like you might want to watch what you say when you say stuff like that, man, Mr. O, online. You might want to watch that, brother. Just box cleverly, man. I want y'all to be aware, man, of how we've been indoctrinated on so many levels, man. Don't ever forget that we've been just as indoctrinated as the youth of the day. I would dare argue in some instances we've been more indoctrinated. Right? Smash that like button, click on the bell, subscribe to the page, man. Tomorrow night, ladies' night, we getting straight to it. We're going to have my girl Jay Averay back on the show. Y'all remember my girl Jay Averay? Talented artist out of the city, Columbus, Ohio, doing her thing. You feel me? Doing her thing on the music side, amongst other things. Y'all remember my little sis, J. Ray? She done been on the show twice already. This will be what, her third time coming on the show? You know? Make sure y'all tap in tomorrow night for ladies' night. Tomorrow we're gonna have my young sister on, man. J. Ray. Y'all remember she was on the show 2 times already. You feel me? First time as a guest, then the second time she came on, we did a listening party for her album. You feel me? Now she coming back on tomorrow to catch up. Let us know what else she got going on. Might hear some new music. And she got some announcements she want to make, and just come and chop it up. Let us know what's going on with her. So we're going to have my little sis, J. Ray, come on the building, man. You hear me? Nice, talented young sister. You feel me? Talented young sister. She'll be back on the show tomorrow for ladies' night. And, of course, you know we got the Friday night wrap-up. Friday. Saturday, we're going to have something special. You did. Smash that like button, click on the bell, subscribe to the page. Hey, man, I hope y'all enjoyed going down memory lane with me, man. You know, it's important to understand the significance of our generation. I want y'all to understand that. We are the last group of humans. We're the last group of humans to know what this world was like before the digital age. I want y'all to understand. I want y'all to over, inner, outer, extra stand the significance of that. Right? Especially moving forward as the smart grid is coming fully online. Right? Tap in, walk with us, man. Click on the bell, subscribe to the page. You did? Everybody enjoy the rest of y'all evening, man. I appreciate y'all coming out, man. Y'all could have been anywhere in the world, man. But y'all tapping in with me, man, and I appreciate that. Smash that like button, click on the bell, subscribe to the page. Sharing social engineering, man. Tap in with us tomorrow for ladies' night. My young sister and J. Ray is going to be on the building in the show. Which I said in the building on the show. And like I said, Friday night, y'all know how we do it over here, man. Friday night wrap up. Me and my brother King Els. We're going to get straight to it. Ain't nothing to it but to do it. And we definitely going to do it like we used to it. You did? I'm gonna leave y'all with some of my brother King L's music. You feel me? Let's go.
Yo, if I miss who I miss, how I'm not that. Trillis in this shit, they can't knock that. With they main tongue, only time they top that. 4 for 1 on the goal line, still trying to drop back. If I miss who I miss, how I'm not that. Trillis in this shit, they can't knock that. With they main tongue, only time they top that. 4 for 1 on the goal line, still trying to drop back. Diamonds on a nigga from the mud, came from different types of pressure. Thank the Lord bless her, watch how I adjust her. Views for these straws, can't get full from my liquor. Hit the source, we your pause for minimize the loss. Trying to hit and make more green than leaves in the forest. Far from a tourist, need to get my core it. My brothers is all this, one hit, we all live. God gave me the sight to hit my target. It's like rewind getting blurry cause I switched my mindset. Me and me, less some time to make trips to rice steak. Guess you could say that we eating pancakes. That's a sweet flip when you let your man bait. I seen preacher man turn victim to OnlyFans in the strip club. Gotta hold this together, so I'ma stay clipped up. It's filthy in these streets, all drunk bum, keep the 40 grip. Don't make me kick a bitch out my house on my 40 shit. If I miss who I miss, how I'm not that. Trillis in this shit, they can't knock that. With they main tongue, only time they top that. 4 for 1 on the goal line, still trying to drop back. If I miss who I miss, how I'm not that. Trillis in this shit, they can't knock that. With they main tongue, only time they top that. 4 for 1 on the goal line, still trying to drop back.
Nigga, aim high while lame niggas remain low. I'm from an era of purple haze and fire growth. Real stories, if I spit it, it's true for sure. I'm trying to get me a beat. I need a few of those so I can lay up gas to start my day up. Shit, I'm spitting bullets the same size as K-Cups. Alarm clock to these niggas, they better wake up. I'm giving the game a shake up. Trying to triple my pay up. It's 2023. These verses, get your cake up. I really got a diamond effect. Bitch, I'm Jacob. Betty Crocker couldn't bake the shit, I could get fat. I'm talking bars, niggas probably think I'm cooking crack. Guac, cheese, fettuccine, give me all of that. I need glitch, nigga, and this shit been a money rap. E.N.E, you can label me up under that. Shit still come full circle like a cul-de-sac.
If I miss who I miss, how I'm not that. Trillis in this shit, they can't knock that. With they main tongue, only time they top that. 4 for 1 on the goal line, still trying to drop back. If I miss who I miss, how I'm not that. Trillis in this shit, they can't knock that. With they main tongue, only time they top that. 4 for 1 on the goal line, still trying to drop back.